What is going on, guys? Coach Abby here to bring you some tips and tricks for the beginning of your jiu-jitsu career, along with just health, wellness, and living an ultimate life. So right now I'm going to be talking about if you are just starting jiu-jitsu and you haven't even had your first grappling session or roll yet, you may be having some fears, doubts, worries. So I'm going to discuss the top 3 things that I've seen that I myself have also experienced and how to overcome that when starting to actually grapple, or at least get in the mindset if you haven't yet done it, or you're thinking about it and you haven't even stepped into a jiu-jitsu gym yet. So the first thing I'd say is comparison syndrome. This is something that I think most humans have a struggle with now and again when it comes to something they're wanting to do and they see other people that are far better than them or ahead of them. It's easy for us to compare what somebody's doing and how good they are, and then looking at ourselves and saying, why aren't we there yet, or what are we doing wrong, or I don't know if I can get there. I mean, they're really good. And it can get in our heads and get us really overwhelmed and anxious. And so the first thing that you should do when getting on a mat is don't look at anybody else and try to have that comparison, because they're on their own journey. And you have to think about that throughout your jiu-jitsu journey, because other people might advance faster or other people might get something a little bit quicker. The more you compare, the harder it is for you to develop your game. And so in the beginning, have a good competition mind, have that ability to be competitive without getting so caught up in comparing your game to somebody else's or your journey to somebody else's. The second thing I'm going to say is doubt or insecurity. So we all have our insecurities, we all have the things that we might not feel most confident in, and when we first step onto a mat or grapple, sometimes the insecurity of men just not knowing what to do and being a man, or women thinking that maybe they're tough or that they're more weak, they think they might be injured easily or whatever, the insecurities start to come up, the unnecessary fears start to arise, and that can really affect whether we actually take action in rolling, grappling with somebody or not. There's one thing with being decisive and smart about who you roll with. It's a completely other thing when you're first on the mat, you have a lot of people that care about you, and you're allowing the insecurity to take over and actually play a role in how you grapple or whether or not you grapple. And so be aware that we're all on a learning journey. We're all on a way of figuring out who we are. We all have our insecurities, and so if you can control, even better, if you can pinpoint certain things that create insecurity or you see other people are insecure about, instead of feeding into it, learning how to balance it out, how to reason with creating confidence, creating a solid foundation, and then allowing the security to slowly dissolve over time. And the way that you do this is honestly just through repetition and through the allowing of your ego to kind of be sharpened down and then the confidence built back up. And it's important to have an ego for survival skills, for bettering yourselves to a certain extent, but don't allow the insecurity and don't allow the massive ego to alter the way you do your game or treat other people. And that's very, very important. That's something I think we all learn too on a continuous basis. You don't ever just completely master it. I think you get a lot better, a lot quicker at diagnosing, realizing, and fixing it. But we're human, so we do have tendencies that come out that we need to regulate. And the last thing that I'm going to say that might help you prepare in starting your jiu-jitsu journey with that first roll, with that first grapple session, especially if you're a woman that's first now stepping out into grappling with men or boys, is the fight or flight instinct. So if you're brand new, you haven't yet figured out to control when it's dangerous, when it's not dangerous, and you can be calm, when to react by going near somebody and closing in space, and when to back away and create space. So your fight or flight instinct has not yet been fully developed in the realm of jiu-jitsu, and so you're going to find yourself kind of getting anxious, fearful, unsure, feeling like everything's too close to you, you're not knowing what's going to happen, and that will create the fight or flight response to just go crazy. And so the way to help with this is allowing your body and mind to connect and saying, it's okay, I'm gonna figure it out. Ask good questions after the roll if you have a few seconds in between rolls, and allow yourself to kind of make the decision before your emotions allow the decision to be made for you, if that makes sense. So before you even step into the gym, if you're at a point where you know you're ready to take that step in making a first grappling round happen, you need to decide that before the emotions start coming into play. And the reason I say this is because we are emotional creatures, especially women, and so sometimes if we can't figure out how to control that yet, we'll be confident or we'll feel a certain way, and then something happens and we tend to revert into our old comfortable zone or just not doing something. So making that decision before and learning that it's okay to have the fight or flight instincts, kind of freak out in the beginning, try to figure out what's going on, and then over time controlling it, seeing what's happening, seeing where it needs to be sharpened, you know, as far as controlling the emotions or allowing the emotions to help you out in getting out of a position or executing a position or submission. Those are very, very important. So it is a learning experience. There are going to be days and times where the anxiousness comes out or the uncertainty of life comes out. It is going to happen where the uncertainties and emotions come up or arise more frequently depending on the season, depending on the life changes. And so the first rounds, the first grappling sessions, you will feel emotions, whether good or bad, they'll be there. And so if you can figure out kind of pinpointing what emotions you're feeling, especially as a female, insecurities, ego, doubt, comparison syndrome, whatever it might be, it's okay to have those feelings. Just don't allow them to overcome what you're actually going to be trying to do as far as making the round happen or making the grapple session happen if it is something that's new to you. Because new things can be scary, they really can. And so just taking that first step forward is really the scariest part, I'd say. Once you're in there, once you understand, once you see that your partners care for you, you're going to be in a good place and it's only going to grow you even more. So I hope that was helpful. If you like what you heard, if you find it helpful, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will try to do my best in bringing you more value to help you have an amazing jiu-jitsu journey, life and fitness journey, ultimately living your best life. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.